Sunday, and welcome to another episode of Blue Jay Acres. If you are new, thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully you stick around, hit that subscribe button and give a thumbs up. I am Noelle, and I have quite a few new people actually, so I thought I'd just real quick go through. It is my husband and myself here currently, and we have 4 children at home. We have 3 in college and 1 completely moved out, and we are on a very tight budget. We started a farm a couple years ago, and it tended to be, or it surprised us at how expensive it was. We were not as prepared as we thought we were, so we have gotten ourselves into some debt, and so now we need to get that paid off. So we're on a very tight budget. We are following the envelope system, and Dave Ramsey is who we're kind of following his 7-step program to get out of debt. And we're also working on being a self-sufficient farm. So a lot going on here. So hopefully you decide to stick around and join us. So today, guys, I'm gonna show you what we're eating, but I'm making brunch. That's really what I'm gonna go with today. But I also need to meal prep a little bit. So meal prep the breads today. So I'm gonna share with you making biscuits and gravy. That's what we're gonna have, and eggs, because we have, I think, about 7 dozen eggs right now at the house that we need to use up. And I have some milk that expires tomorrow that I need to use up. So I'm gonna do biscuits and gravy, and then we're going to do eggs, and then I'm gonna meal prep some bread for the week and some muffins for the week. So I'll share those recipes with you guys as well. Also, sorry that I was not on yesterday. Our youngest Luke, who is autistic, he had strep throat, as I mentioned to you the last video, and God love him. He might be a literal genius, but he does not understand anything when he is sick. He doesn't understand sickness at all, and he's not been eating or drinking for 3 days. Little tiny sips of ice water. Hopefully we're on day 2 of antibiotics, so hopefully by tonight he'll feel better. I hope. He did sleep last night, which is a plus, and we'll see how it goes. But thank you guys all so much for all of your prayers that you were sending for him to heal and get a fast recovery. Ronnie is saying her throat hurts, so I'm probably gonna end up back at the doctor again with another one with strep. Oh, that's how it goes with a big family, right? All right, so let's go on and start the biscuits and gravy. I did give you a thorough video about me making biscuits. I think it was about a week ago. I'll link that down below. So those of you that just watch me make biscuits, don't want to watch it, you don't have to. And those that want to see like a thorough how I make it, then I will have that for you in the description box below. So Charles is outside getting the cows moved, and I want to have breakfast done by the time he gets in. It is pretty cold out here. This morning we're in the 20s. It might be in the 30s by now because it is about 12:30. This is one recipe that I do sift my flour. Now biscuits and bread, I measure very little things, a few ingredients, because I just make them so often. Dinner rolls, bread, all of that. that I just don't need to measure very much. So I try to give you the best measurements that I can. And definitely one of the things about biscuits is making sure you get enough salt, because that does make a big difference in the taste of your biscuits. And I do not use baking soda, I just use baking powder. Okay, while that's baking, I'm going to go on and make my gravy. I'm just going to start with the pound of sausage. This is how I've always made gravy, sausage gravy at least, and I think that it's just the easiest way to make sausage gravy. And I'm just going to start by browning the sausage. Okay, now what I do is after all of the sausage is browned, I am just going to add flour. This is probably about 1/4 of a cup, but that'll also just depend on how much grease your pork. This is pretty lean, so if it was really a lot of grease, then I would have to add a little bit more. And then I just cook that for just a little bit, just so that it doesn't taste like flour. I'm also going to add salt, and we'll have taste and see if it needs more salt. And I'm going to add pepper. I like a lot of pepper. It's up to you on how much pepper you like. It's really all just to taste. Then I just start adding milk. Enough to like cover the bottom to start with, and I'll have to add more as it thickens up until it is the consistency that I want.
Well, the ground's pretty well frozen, so I don't know if I'm going to get the fence put in this afternoon or not. Might have to wait until tomorrow afternoon when it gets a little bit warmer. We're supposed to be low 40s today, but this stays pretty shaded during the afternoon, and so this is not really getting the sun down on it, so it crunches quite a bit. I am going to go ahead, I think, and cut this bale free and let it breathe just a little bit. I'm going to get these bad spots kind of put down toward the ground, because they're just going to trample that anyway, so I might as well put the bad stuff at the bottom. And then this will be here for when I do move the fence. And that's actually going to be one of the best parts about moving the fence, is I can string it and do all the electrical with the existing wiring. I don't need like an extra roll, because they are going to be very distracted just standing here and eating while I fence them back in again. So I'll get posts in the ground, but I probably won't string it until I'm ready to actually feed them off this bale. So I don't know if that'll be today or that'll be tomorrow, but either way, we'll get that done.
It is 4 o'clock. I am just now getting ready to start the bread because we actually had different people coming to buy eggs today. So I'm gonna let Charles tell you a little bit about the eggs and what we need and how much we need. So here's Charles real quick on the eggs.
All right, so I just recorded a whole section with the camera off. That always makes you go, So, what I was saying is, with the chicken feed, we did the math on it, and basically $260 is what we're paying for 3 months worth of feed. And when you do the math backward, if we're going to charge $3 for a dozen eggs, then that works out to where we need to sell about 7 dozen eggs a week on average. Now, today I will have sold 4, and I'm bringing another 1.5 dozen into a friend of mine at work tomorrow, so you know, we're really on pace where we could do that. We want it with consistency, and the great thing is we do have some customers that are regular customers. You know, I had one right before Thanksgiving that she bought 4 dozen eggs at that point in time. So hopefully, again, we stay pretty consistent there. But, you know, we opted for $3 a dozen, and I think it makes sense because unlike a convenience store, which is about convenience, right? You're going to pay more there, but it's right there at your fingertips. And, you know, at $3 a dozen, folks need to come to me for a special trip to get those eggs. Now, I can promise you our eggs are worth $3 a dozen. They're probably worth closer to $4 a dozen if I want to be really honest about it. But I do know that, you know, $3 a dozen, 7 dozen a week, is basically going to fully pay for all the feed that these chickens need. And we're just kind of taking that money and putting it back into the cash fund, which is how I get it for $2.60. And that is because my local feed store actually gives a very small discount when you use cash. So I'm paying about $17 a bag for the feed, plus tax, and then I'm getting basically a discount of between 2 and 3% for using cash when I make my purchase. And I stumbled onto it completely by accident because one day I was paying for like a bag or two for, you know, whatever, for cash, and he told me, oh, well, you're going to get the cash discount, and never thought about it. So if you've never asked, if you go to a local feed store versus your big box retailer chain, I might recommend you ask for the option to see if they have a cash discount, as every penny saved is a penny earned these days, and that definitely makes it doable. So the cool thing with it is it's 7 dozen a week. We're averaging right now, since we started tracking it back on November the 20th, we're averaging about 14 eggs a day. So if I pack a dozen away for sales, then that still leaves us a couple eggs every day. And don't get me wrong, some days it's 18. Yesterday I think we actually had 19 eggs. Other days we are only getting maybe 8 or 10. So it's all about the average, which is about 14 eggs a day right now. So if we're getting between 1 and 2 dozen a week for us, and that should be good, all we need to do if we need more is just adjust our sale count. And yeah, we might pay a little bit for feed if we do that, but you know, we're going to feed our family first and then sell the rest to supplement the feed. So
okay, so today, because it's 4 o'clock, I'm just gonna do bread. I was gonna make some different muffins too, but I'm gonna mostly just do bread. So I have a couple loaves ready for packing in lunches and stuff tomorrow. So for bread, today I'm gonna do our very basic bread. Just very basic bread. A lot of you say that you have a hard time with bread, or you don't know how I get my bread to look the way it does. I'm gonna tell you, my suggestion is to try this very, very basic loaf of bread. It makes 2 loaves. And if you're really wanting to get into it, practice with this basic recipe. Play with it a little bit. So one day make it so that it's, you know, you exactly follow what I tell you to. The next one, do it so it's a little different. Add a little more sugar, add a little more salt. Salt is key to bread. It gives all the flavor. The sugar, if I'm making like dinner rolls, I add more sugar just because that little hint of sweet is nice in a dinner roll. But otherwise, the bread or the honey or the sugar, I mean, in the bread is just to feed the yeast and get the yeast to go. That's what I use it for in regular bread. That's why there's not a lot of it in it. But I would play with it. I would add a little less flour, a little more flour. See how you like it. And then once you get to where how you like your bread and you've got this basic loaf down and you're like, I can do this, it's not so bad, then start playing with it more. Like if I want to make a really good sandwich bread, I use milk, warm milk instead of the warm water that we're going to use. I will add an egg. I'll do some butter along with the oil. I do, if I have it, bread flour versus regular all-purpose flour, because bread flour has vital wheat gluten in it that helps just make it a softer bread. Not necessary, but you can tell a difference. It does definitely make it softer. If I'm making dinner rolls, I add more sugar. I add mostly butter versus oil. I make it with milk, I add an egg, I do the bread flour if I have it. So you just kind of learn what you like, and each type of bread that you want to make changes a little. Again, bread and biscuits I make all the time, all the time, so I don't measure anything, or very little. I always measure the liquid that I'm putting in. I will tell you roughly it's going to be 4 to 5 cups of flour. I probably do more of the 4 cups of flour because my family likes it when the dough is a little bit sticky. It's a softer dough and not as dense. It's a little bit lighter, I guess you'd say, a little fluffier. So we use more close to the 4 cups of flour. Again, I don't measure, I just kind of pour the flour in until it's how we like it. A lot of other people though, they would put in 5 cups. I think there's somebody here to pick up eggs, so hold on just a minute. Okay, that was more eggs going out. Today we've already sold 4 dozen. I gotta get another 18 eggs ready to go tomorrow morning to work with Charles because somebody from his work is buying it, so that's all good. It's wonderful news. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna start this bread up. And like I said, I don't think I'm gonna make muffins today. It was the plan, but we ended up needing to get the eggs together, and honestly, I took a little rest as well because I've been up with Luke so much with him being sick, and so I'm just gonna go on and make this bread real quick. Okay, so I am gonna use my hook attachment and my stand mixer, but you can make bread completely without this. Just knead it by hand. It's just gonna take a little bit longer. This just makes it go a little faster. Okay, I'm gonna start with 2 cups of warm water. You want it warm, not hot, because you don't want it to kill the yeast, but the warm water will help activate the yeast. Then I'm gonna add sugar to feed the yeast. That is about a tablespoon of sugar. And then I buy my yeast in big bulk packages. I'm gonna use about 2 tablespoons and get that in there. You could use 2 packets of yeast if you were just buying it by the packets at the store. And then I'm just gonna mix it up real quick, just real quick. And I'm gonna let that sit and get bubbly for about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so now you can see that's nice and fluffy, if you guys can see in there. Now I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of olive oil. And I'll measure it for you guys. Let's say a teaspoon of salt. And then I'm gonna start with 4 cups of flour. I will measure it so that I can try and give you guys more accurate measurements. Okay, I'm not gonna go with any more flour than that. You guys can see that's good enough for me. I'm gonna let this just go on and continue to knead on low like that while I empty the dishwasher, just straighten up in the kitchen. And then, so give it like 5 or 10 minutes to just kind of knead on low, I would say. Then I'll go on and I'll remove it, cover it, and let it rise until it's doubled for about an hour. Now, I'm still going to let it knead for a little bit longer, but I just wanted you to kind of see, this is how we like it. So it's still very squishy, sticky, but it's not stick to your fingers. I mean, it is a little bit, but not like a ton. That's how we like it. Okay, so there's the bread dough finished. And now I'm just gonna cover it and let this sit for about an hour until it's doubled up. You'll see it like rise up. Okay, so I've got 2 loaf pans here. I'm gonna go on and just spray them down. And this is risen. So I'm going to just kind of punch it down a little bit. And I'm gonna divide it into 2. Now mine is sticky because we have found for us, it makes a softer bread. So now I'm just gonna kind of keep turning it so that it gets longer, bigger. And then I'm going to just roll it the best I can. It's very sticky. Roll it and pop it in here. Again, if you don't want it sticky, if it's a little drier, that's fine too. This might be even a hair too sticky just because it's harder to go with, but it'll still turn out good. Okay, Charles is still out there somewhere. 27, 23, somewhere in there. Okay, now I'm going to cover this and let it rise again. This time I'm going to go on and preheat my oven low to 350 degrees. It will just help heat this up a little bit to help it rise better, and then it'll be ready to bake. Alright, now this is ready, so I'm just going to take this egg, kind of beat it a little bit, and I'm going to do an egg wash over top of the bread. And then I'm going to put this in the oven, and I'm going to bake it about 30 minutes. I'll check it. If you thump on it and it sounds hollow, then you know it's done. I also like to use the glass baking dishes because you can look on the sides and see if it's been cooked or not. I'm going to get these in the oven. Alright, the bread is done. Okay, you guys, that is going to wrap it up for tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Have a great day or night wherever you are.